talking about the dream trip, the all-American dream trip. The dream trip, the history. It starts with a surf video, and I brought the video home. I watched it, and it was all about 2 or 3 surfers who wanted to bring 2 younger kid surfers around the world on a surf trip to show them different cultures, meet different people, and basically just love on them, show them the love of God. And so this was 4 years ago. I had made contact with Tommy Shasheen, and it must have been a God thing, because for pretty much a total stranger, besides using a buddy of mine as a reference, Tommy was like, yeah, come on out, you can stay in my camper, and we'll go snowboarding. So that sparked the whole trip. And so now it's been something that we hope to do every year. I guess to sum it up, it's a way to get kids out of the element here, get them away from all their friends. It's just us and them, and then we bring God onto the scene, and we hope that He speaks through us and just gives these kids something that they can take away from the trip, besides just meeting pros or snowboarding or just the adventure part of it.
I was walking around at Andy's in the chalet, and I heard a voice, and it was Gary. And he said, "Chandler, I gotta tell you something." He told me that he had an extra ticket, and I was like, "Ticket for what?" And he said, "Well, plane ticket." And I was like, "No way."
When did you find out that you were going on the dream trip?
May 17th, 2011. Shoot. I found out I was going on the dream trip shortly after Gary told me. That was the correct date. Just disclaimer. Yeah, from there on we knew we were going on the trip.
You know, I was accepted into a group of people that were my other family. It just meant a lot, and it meant like that my faith had grown closer to God than I've ever been before.
There had always been like chances to go. Like I literally would pray and be like, you know, God, is this my time to go on this dream trip? And it was weird because, I mean, I'd pray about this, and every time I'd get that, it's like, you know, it's not your time yet. Next year, you know, next year's the year for you. That, it kind of gave me hope. It's like, man, I pray for this, and just to get such positive, you know, feedback out of prayer is a cool feeling. And then, you know, to pray about it this year and have it be like, this is your year, you know, this is the year that I want you to go on this trip. And then to see the group of kids that we brought with it. I mean, the lineup of riders we brought out there this year was amazing. 5 guys that I've definitely had a lot of fun getting to know. I mean, the kind of kids who you hang out with so much even outside of practice. I mean, there's the kids that you see every Saturday, and then there's the kids that call you up on a Thursday night because they want to hang out or they want to go do a street rail. I mean, I think maybe that's like, when I look back on it, why I waited so long, or why I trusted in God to wait so long, was maybe not so much the trip itself, but maybe the people that were on the trip.
So I had no clue where we were going, absolutely no clue. I actually told half the school that we were going to Hawaii because I knew we could snowboard there. And there was this rumor of, you know, I might get to see the ocean and something really cool. No, we didn't see anything cool the whole trip.
Well, our first destination, I finally figured out where we were going because we saw a ski resort up in the mountains.
I saw the Donner Pass sign, and I honestly freaked out. I'm pretty sure I was the first one to be like, guys, Tahoe, I promise.
And then we saw a sign that said Tahoe, population, whatever. And then I was like, we were all super stoked, and we were like screaming almost like girls in the car.
we stayed at a really cool hotel that was just right off the lake of Lake Tahoe, and it was, you know, it was a beautiful place. It was cool to see that. And then stayed at the hotel, woke up, went to Squaw Valley, rode there, met Andy.
I had heard of Squaw Valley before. I kind of knew that Andy was around that area. And we were in the parking lot waiting for Andy. And no one knew who he was or who we were going with that day, except for, obviously, we watched him all on the Amazing Race, which was totally rad. And there's this guy just walking along this parking lot. This parking lot had to be like 200 yards long. I mean, it was like football fields. And I'm here, Nick's here, and everyone else is kind of throwing snowballs at each other over here. And I'm like looking down, like I'm scoping this guy out because there's only one direction he's coming from, like that way. And Nick's like, is it that guy? I'm like, no, too old, too many helmets. And eventually there's this just shaggy looking guy in an old beat up flannel and a blue vest. And I was like, Nick, come on, that guy. And Nick, we look at each other and we're like, oh yeah. It was pretty awesome.
I remember riding up with on the chairlift with him first. I didn't know what to expect, and he was super chill. Like, he's been riding with us forever. He was just super into like hanging out with us. And then Gary's like, "Oh, just point them off the right cliff and they'll jump." And then he was like taking us off these things, and we didn't know what was on the other side, and we had to kind of trust him.
Squaw Valley, yeah, Squaw Valley was sick. It was interesting though. It's like when you think about, you know, Truckee, when you think about like Lake Tahoe, I mean, the first thing that pops to mind is North Star. And, you know, I think Squaw Valley is probably better than North Star. I'll say it. You know why? Because Andy Finch is at Squaw Valley.
Going to the mountain and just being with like 6 other friends that you have a strong relationship with and that you know you're going to have fun with. And yeah, basically just having a good time away from everyone else, like away from home.
Check it out. What I needed to hear wasn't coming in clear, and what I now know is only partial info. I speak over tempo to
Woke up, went to Boreal. That was really cool. Met some people from Sweden on the chairlift, talked to them. I couldn't really understand them.
Boreal was so sweet because they previously had a snowstorm of 8 feet, so they had to tear down their park, and we were the first ones to put first track on a brand new train park at Boreal.
It feels good, so give me some more. I said, it feels good. Well, it's a bit passionate for your radio, but that's alright though. It's good for your soul, and it feels good to be out of control. I said it feels good to be out of control. Well, it's a bit passionate for your radio, but that's alright though. It's good for your soul, and it feels good to be out of control. I said it feels good to be out of control. Now ain't that something, adrenaline rushing, and I'm touching the heart of God and adjusting rather nicely to the feeling that's inside.
Every day we were super pumped. No matter where we went, we were just pumped to be there, and that's kind of what you have to do in your life. I mean, you gotta trust God, and He's gonna bring you places that you're gonna want to go. So you just gotta put your faith in Him and just be pumped to live every day for what He wants you to do.
And I'm in a headspace I've never been before. Ever since my feet hit the shore, I tell you how, it feels good, so give me some more. I say, it feels good. Well, it's a bit passionate for your radio, but that's alright though. It's good for your soul, and it feels good to be out of control. I said it feels good to be out of control. Well, it's a bit passionate for your radio, but that's alright though. It's good for your soul, and it feels good to be out of control. I said it feels good to be out of control. Out of control. Out of control.
There were so many bales. The worst bale that I saw, Shane was, I think, was trying a wildcat at Boreal, and I think he hit his head. That was probably the worst one. After I saw pictures of it, it looks like it hurt.
Well, it's a bit passionate for your radio, but that's alright though, it's good for your soul, and it feels good to be out of control. I said it feels good to be out of control. Well, it's a bit passionate for your radio, but that's alright though, it's good for your soul, and it feels good to be out of control. I said it feels good to be out of control.
Boreal for real.
Alright, I'm following Chandler.
There's like 12 resorts we had talked about going to, so there was no way we were going to go anywhere else. Like, that's our destination. Got to use my swimsuit. Did put on my flip-flops, which Gary told me to bring. But, you know, most of the trip had been fulfilled from what I heard. And then we went south.
We were driving down. We were driving somewhere. I mean, we went through Nevada, and Nevada was like a wasteland.
The coolest part about going down to Mammoth from Tahoe was it was just like really connected. Like every conversation kind of had everybody in it because no one was distracted. I mean, it's like, what else are you gonna do? Might as well listen to your friends and hang out with your buddies instead of getting lost in your music. So that was kind of the cool part. Like, it might have been uneventful, but it was connected.
Got into California, then we saw June. Gary's like, oh yeah, that's June. See ya. And we drove past June, and we were just like, oh, okay, I guess we're not going to June. And then Gary's like, oh yeah, and this is Mammoth Lakes, California, and that's Mammoth. Not going there either, see ya. And we drove past all that, and all of a sudden we just got all bummed out.
I'm pretty sure Chandler shed a tear, but...
And then we just kept going, and then I was just like, oh.
We were just like, well, there's nowhere else, you know? We were driving to nowhere, and then we pulled up to Tommy's house. And Gary's like, just kidding, guys, we're actually going back. We're just here to see Tommy.
I love Tommy. Tommy's awesome. I'm kind of glad to know there's another goofy rider out there.
Let the guys all meet Tommy, and then we finally let the cat out of the bag that yes, we were going back to Mammoth this year.
Going on this trip, I kind of got to know more about who Tommy was and how he was in like his relationship with God and everything. And he's just another normal guy like everyone else. He just happens to be really good at snowboarding.
Searching out a face-to-face with you one more time.
We summited twice, and don't tell Trevor I admitted this, but I'm afraid of heights. I was like looking out, and like whenever I'd look out, I'd feel like there was nothing behind me or under my feet, and I'd start to shake and like fall over. It was like a minor case of epilepsy, but I'm over it now, so it's okay. And we dropped this face. It was like standing back 3 feet from the ledge, you couldn't see straight down it. You got over the ledge, and you look over and you're like, oh, there's snow there, sweet.
When I fell off the face of Mammoth and I started ragdolling, that was really scary. I thought it wasn't going to end, but eventually it did. I just kind of stopped.
I kind of like Chandler's tumbling down the face of Mammoth, not knowing when he would stop.
The hot springs, that was definitely an adventure. We took the guys and we went to a natural hippie-built hot tub, which kind of proves my further point that California is loaded with hippies. And basically, it's just this natural heated hot tub, and you just sit there and bake. Like in a, I don't know, crab cooker, but that wasn't the one that we went to. And Chandler was just loving it, and everyone was loving it.
My favorite part of the trip was going to June, which is supposed to be like the biggest park place ever. It's supposed to be just super awesome. And we went there and there was like 15, 20 park features set up over the whole mountain. So we just went backcountry, but it turned out to be super rad. Like there are like little rock drops and tree gaps and stuff that we could hit all day. So it turned out to be like super fun, even though it was like the windiest and iciest day ever.
I personally had one of the funnest days there at June because we did something we didn't expect, and it was such an adventure. And what had happened is that Chandler, trying to get out of the wind on the first run, dipped into the woods. And what he found in the woods was like a foot of fresh, untouched pow.
I woke up like, put up my dukes like, turn to my girl like, I got the whole world like, manifest destiny, I'm the next best MC, they won't let rest in peace ever. Whether or not the weather gets better ain't up to me, but it better get better, man. I wrote a letter to the president, turned his redneck a little redder with my rhetoric. A letter that the postman never sent. I think it's time for us to resurrect. I woke up like, put up my dukes like, turn to my girl like, I got the whole world like. I woke up like, put up my dukes like, turn to my girl like, I got the whole world like, manifest destiny, I'm the next best MC, they won't let rest. I hit my head on a brick. You okay, Chan?
My highlight of the trip was probably being there with my brother. Because being there without him, I don't know if it would have been the same. It would have been actually completely different, I know that. And it really made me a lot more aware of what's out there. And it made me actually want to explore so much more. Because the world is so unique everywhere you go.
Yeah, Nick. Nice.
Being able to interact with the guys on a different level. You know, during any normal winter here, it's always, you know, kind of the same old thing, the same old friends, the same old jokes going on. When you get out to a totally different place, I think it was just neat, the conversations we'd have, jokingly, but also, you know, on the deeper level, you know, talking about our relationship with God.
No matter what it is, religion just is like basically like the repetition of things like people made up. to follow God. And what it's really about is like your relationship. It's like building a relationship with God.
Having like a good relationship with God, and instead of just believing in Him and knowing that, oh, there's God, I kind of learned to have just like a better relationship, more like a friendship with Him. Just praying for guidance, praying for help whenever you need it. Because after the trip, I kind of figured out, you know, God is there when you need Him.
The mountains in the back was probably the most beautiful thing I had ever seen, and I kind of just took a moment there and reflected on everything and said, wow, God created this. Like, focus on everything that's good instead of the bad. And it was just like a awesome moment for me.
Hats off to you boys.